Welcome to Fantasy Language with Marian, Martin, and Andre. To our international audience from US to the Netherlands to Japan, we are glad you're here.
You gotta say Ukraine.
To Lviv, Ukraine, guys. How many people do you think we have listening to our podcast in Ukraine?
That's a good question.
How many people listen to podcasts total?
Maybe
Fantasy podcast
I gotta tell my
total.
uncle in Ukraine.
In Ukraine?
Yeah, probably like 10. So I don't know if any of those are ours. Alright guys, how are you doing? Andre, I wanted to ask you. Andre, guys, I don't know if you know this. His record is 2-6 in our current league. Andre, how are you feeling? What's your game plan? I mean, I imagine you're a wreck at this point.
I don't have a game plan. It's like where there's a cliff of hope where you just fall off the cliff of hope and then you're just like, you don't care anymore if you win or lose.
So you've given up. You're saying, I give up. I throw in the white flag.
I don't give up necessarily. I just don't have any hope. I don't get disappointment from losing anymore.
Wow.
Andre, do you have multiple leagues that you're in?
Yes.
So
I'm in 2 and I have David Johnson in both.
Okay, so your fantasy season is over.
No.
So you're
Wrong.
focusing on the Lakers now, basketball.
Well, he has this
Baseball, some
podcast
other
to
sport
focus
now.
on, so we're glad you're here. Alright guys, let's get into the games. Man, it was a fun week yesterday, man. Week
8.
Yeah, week 8 was my favorite game. I think a lot of people's favorite game. The Seahawks versus the Texans. Man, that was incredible. I don't even know where to start. I mean, who impressed you the most, Martin?
There's a few. Let's name 2 off the Texans. Will Fuller and Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's rookie of the year right now. He's playing phenomenal. And Will Fuller keeps on impressing. Now, I mentioned this before. I told Victor, he doesn't know this, but I told Victor to start.
Victor is a person on the league.
Yes.
Carry on.
I told Victor to start Will Fuller as his flex because DeAndre Hopkins will get covered and Will Fuller will get his own. Now, Will Fuller, first play of the game for him. First catch, 59-yard touchdown. I think he ended up with 22 fantasy points. And, dude, he's going to be phenomenal going forward.
The thing about that whole Texans offense is really, I feel like Deshaun Watson, he drives that offense like crazy. And here's the thing, everyone was saying, yeah, he's good. But then people were saying, well, lower your expectation. It's the Seahawks. What does he do? He goes into CenturyLinks and he completely destroys. I mean, he's just on fire. Take a look at his last 5 games. All of those last 5 games, he scored over 20 points. Out of those 5, 3 out of those 5, he scored over 30 points. I mean, the guy is just on fire. Let me ask you this, guys. Would you at this point rather have Tom Brady or Deshaun Watson?
In fantasy, I'd rather have Deshaun Watson.
No, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Deshaun
Watson,
Watson,
I don't think it's that ridiculous.
I don't think Tom Brady can come into Central League and score 38. Let's just put it that way.
You can't use that as an argument. I think going forward, even any rookie, there's going to be inconsistency. Yeah, he's been on fire, and I
agree. But
going forward, it's hard to take a rookie over a guy like Tom Brady.
You know, and this is the problem I have. Is I'm thinking the same thing. Well, every rookie, they go through these inconsistencies. The only thing is, Deshaun hasn't done that. That's what's surprising. Like, he hasn't. And I don't know, maybe he will, but at this point, it's like
he reminds me of Russell Wilson in his rookie year. He has a defense behind. He has a defense behind him.
His defense, not really.
They're all right. They're not scrubs.
He's
They're
not
all
a
right.
game manager. And the problem, I think, not to take away credit from Deshaun Watson, because he's been the best rookie in a while, in my opinion, from a fantasy perspective.
Okay, yeah.
Other than Elliott last year. But Seahawks defense is vastly overrated. And they are not the elite unit they once were.
They're not.
But they're good. Because they set the standard so high for themselves in the previous years that we're saying we're overrating now. No, they're still a good defense.
They're a good defense.
They're not as good as they were in 2013 because that defense was arguably one of the best defenses ever.
But I don't consider them not elite.
You think they're top 5?
Top 5, yes, but I don't consider them a defense where you go up against and you're expected to suck. I think any player in the league that's elite will get his against Seahawks.
I agree. I think 2 or 3 years ago, you used to sit some of your better players.
Yeah, let's talk about the Seahawks players, though. Paul Richardson, he had a game, too. 6 receptions, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's 22 fantasy points.
And he could have had one more. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a holding call. So he scored his 3rd touchdown, but because of a holding call, that was called back.
Yeah, and this is 2-3 games already Paul Richardson has been performing. But we'll talk about him later here.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the things is the Seahawks passing game, and at least fantasy-wise, what benefits it or what makes it better is the fact that their running game is so terrible. I mean, they're forced to throw it. And Russell Wilson, I mean, he's forced to take the pressure.
455 yards.
And he carries the pressure
With 4
pretty well.
touchdowns.
That's something he does. Yeah, that's something he's done all of his career. Going forward, they did get a new left tackle from the Houston Texans.
Yes, for a 2nd and a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, and
year.
I'm wondering if that's gonna make their run game a little more successful, which is good for their run game, and potentially force Russell to throw less. I don't know. Just an idea. It's a small change, but just an idea.
I think we need to use McKissick more as a running
The
back.
problem is the line is terrible. It's undeniable. But I think the running backs are pretty terrible themselves. Because before, like last year and this year, they have not done anything impressive. So
Speaking of not impressive, also week 2, last night, Kareem Hunt. Not impressive at all. 22 carries for 46 yards? Come on. I know you're playing Denver, but if you get 22 carries, you got to score more than 46, put up more than 46 yards.
Elliott against Denver too. I think you can't put this performance. Elliott got locked down by Denver.
Yeah, but
you have to look at.
Then
the
again,
team.
Kareem Hunt's past 4 games are average, category 2 at best.
Yeah.
11 points.
If I'm a Kareem Hunt owner, and we'll touch on this maybe on him, I'm a little concerned. I'm not panicking, but I am a little concerned.
Yes.
There's a guy I want to bring up that I'm actually also a little bit concerned about.
I would rank at least 3 running backs ahead of Kareem Hunt right now.
And I don't have a problem with that.
For sure. Maybe.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys I'm starting to be, I wouldn't even say panic. I don't know if I'd say concerned. I'd say I have an eyebrow up. Do I have an eyebrow up? Well, I can't do it, guys. But and that's Devontae Freeman. Look, we know that he's been in a timeshare for a while. Okay, that's no news. Tevin Coleman's involved, right? Mm-hmm. All right, the last 3 weeks are a little bit concerning.
Especially for you. You have Devontae Freeman on your team.
Yes, I do. And
the entire offense has been sort of dysfunctional.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So it's not just him. It's on the offense. But, I mean, I look at his last 3 games, and it was 12, 10, and around 12 carries. I don't have the stat right in front of me. Oh, I do. 9, 6, and 14. I'm sorry. No, 9, 12, and 12. Now, that's okay. But, I mean, Freeman, the price you paid for him is pretty high. And he just hasn't performed the last 3 games that well. And so a part of me feels like, okay, well, he'll pick it up. It's Freeman. He's done it for, for a year and a half or 2 years. However, my concern is, I'm a little concerned just in their offense, I think, as you mentioned, Andre. And in the way Sarkisian run things.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an eyebrow up, not panicking. What's going on here,
Yeah, that's fine. Andre, do you want to go ahead and lead us into your segment here?
Okay, so few players I want to mention, and I want you guys to tell me something about these guys. And there's other ones.
I'm ready.
But just these are the 5 I listed. Okay. Allen Robinson.
Okay, do you want to comment
David
right now?
Johnson.
Okay.
Odell Beckham. Aaron Rodgers. And Cook. Now there's 2 obvious things.
What is this referring to?
They're injured.
Right.
And they're all Pro Bowl caliber players. But what else do they have in common?
What else do they
What
have?
similarities do these guys share?
They're injury prone.
They're pretty.
They're
Ranked
injured,
well?
but they're not injury prone.
They're not.
There's really
They're
not
not.
much in common. They don't share a lot of qualities.
Okay,
There's quarterbacks, there's
Okay.
running backs, wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not injury prone. They haven't really been injury prone. And then we have guys like Gronkowski, Watkins, LaShawn McCoy,
Okay.
Jeffrey. These guys, Le'Veon Bell, some think he's injury prone. I
yeah.
personally disagree. But these guys are injury prone players
Okay, supposedly, right.
that are not injured and play full season. Do you guys think injuries are something that we should look to and look at and factor into where and how we evaluate players?
Like if we're drafting, for example, and
Yes,
we're
drafting.
Man, for me personally, there's usually just a few guys that I take injuries into account. And this year it was the Washington Redskins tight end, Reed. So I was a little bit concerned about him. Actually,
I think
the
it's
other
just
guy,
19 games over the past 2
yeah,
or 3 seasons.
and the other guy is Gronkowski. So I want to say, I don't take it into account highly. There's usually a few guys that I'm like,
And running backs are usually
scared.
where people are afraid of. And I don't like a lot of running backs for other reasons. But injuries, if you look at this year, receivers seem to be extremely prone to knee injuries themselves. Quarterbacks, I mean...
Oh, yeah, Zach Miller the other
Yeah.
week. That was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Quarterbacks usually don't get injured, but it seems like every year there's a guy, Carr, Mariota, that
Jameis
it's
Winston.
Right.
an insanely injury-prone sport. And Gronkowski dropped. He went higher in our league, but his ADP was around 23, 24.
Yeah, for some people could have even drafted him first round. I think that's crazy, but I think he went second round in our league.
Right.
I think no, to your question, but for certain people, I actually do. Like as you said, Marion. For me, like Bell and Julio, they're injury-prone players, I think, but you're still gonna draft them as soon as you can. Like they're still gonna be first on your team because you just can't avoid those players. They're that good. But for a player like Sammy Watkins, who is injury-prone, who went 4th or 5th round, that I would take into consideration when I'm drafting him. Like, is this too soon for Sammy Watkins? So for certain players, I think it's I take that into consideration.
But Watkins is a guy.
But for elite players like Bell and Julio, I don't.
That Watkins, I mean, he's been bad, right? He hasn't done that.
Right,
that
right.
well. But
Yeah.
it's not because he's injury prone. It's not because of his injuries.
Well, he is injury prone because he's missed a lot of games.
But you
too,
look
little.
at players that are injury prone,
Okay.
and it seems like they've been healthy this year. While guys, David Johnson is a consistent. Last year played every game. You have guys like Odell. No one ever mentioned Odell.
Something's
Odell,
wrong with the universe.
yeah.
All the healthy guys are
It
getting
is
injured.
like-
Gronkowski's played every game this
It
season.
makes
Wow.
you
Going
go
on
into
here,
next
guys?
year and next year, and you think about it, and a guy like me is already looking at next year.
2-6.
Oh yeah.
So you're looking at it, and you're like, should I factor it in? And maybe it's sort of a little bias. You're looking at it this year, next year, everything's gonna go. And Gronk is going to get injured, and all these injury-prone guys are going to get injured again. But looking at it, I don't think injury should be factored into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd mostly agree. And those are good examples of guys you didn't expect to get injured that did get injured. But like, I mean, I'm still sticking by just a few guys every year. I think just a few guys.
All
that
right.
I'll avoid.
Let's talk about a thing we call here on the show. What's your problem?
Oh,
Yes, this is where we look at players and look at how things outside of them impact their fantasy performance, whether it be coaching or quarterback play or whatever else. Now, I could start us off if that's fine with
yeah,
you.
Go
go for
ahead.
it, Andre.
And
I mean,
why-
I have to contain myself because it's just, what's your problem? You know, it's, just wants to get out. But go ahead.
Now, here's something that makes me really, really mad. And that is the usage of Stephon Diggs this week. Now, I don't know who to be mad at. I don't know if it's the
Interesting.
quarterback
Okay.
or the coach.
Okay, blame him
Because
both.
if you look at a decoy and you're like, okay, he was a decoy, and
Okay.
I could understand that. With Diggs, we look at on the first drive, 3rd and 1, he gets a 4-yard catch, first down. Okay, second drive, 3rd and 5, 9-yard catch, first down.
Okay.
They even run him in the second quarter. And so if you're gonna run a running play, you clearly want to get the guy involved. So halftime, 4 catches,
Okay.
27 yards. So not a bad first half.
It's an alright one, yeah.
And in the second half, he did not have 1 catch. He had a 30-yard PI penalty where, he got them 30 yards, but he did not have 1 catch. And I could understand that. I could understand if he got blanketed. But this man, I have never seen a player tear up a defense so bad and not get the ball.
Who are they playing again?
Cleveland.
So he did not get blanketed.
Correct. He was running open. There was a play in the
Yeah.
fourth quarter where he could have gone 70 yards, and Keenum dumped it off.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, Keenum's not a great quarterback. So regardless, I feel like he just has to take part of the blame because you never know how he's gonna feel. You know, you're a regular quarterback. You never know what he's gonna do. He might get flustered. You know, just things go wrong every time.
Well, scoring 27, like they tried to get him the ball the first half. He said he got 27 yards. So the second half, they're probably not going to use him because they saw that he really didn't do much the first half.
The score was 13-12. So
Okay,
it wasn't a blowout. But this man was running open, and there were multiple plays where he was wide open, and they just decided, Keenum decided that, I'm gonna dump it off to McKinnon instead of getting a 50-yard bomb to Stephon.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think one simple rule, and I'm gonna talk about this, is you utilize your great players. Like your great players aren't there, to run routes, to be a decoy, as you said. They're there to perform. And that's actually, I have a similar concern. My guy's Julio Jones. Man, okay, let me ask you guys this.
What's your problem, Julio?
Julio.
Is it Julio or the coaching?
Oh, it's not Julio. I mean, Julio, look, guys, he's proven. Do you guys know where Julio's ranked right now? Wide receiver what?
30.
30? Maybe. I think
I'm going to say 32.
I'm going to say 19.
He's not that bad. He's 22. He's 22. Because he's okay. He's okay. But look, keep in mind, guys, Julio was part of the Elite Three, as we call them.
Yes.
I don't know. It's Julio, OBJ, and Antonio Brown.
And these guys were in a tier of their own. Maybe Antonio Brown.
Now, Julio Jones is 28 years old. He's still... He's been around, but he's only 28. I mean, he's still in his prime.
Yes.
We've seen his history. The guy's a beast. He knows what to do. Man, and then you look at this year, and it's just so frustrating if you're an owner. And I think, honestly, it's Sarkisian. I'm sorry, I don't know. But look, he's an elite player, and he's only had 8 targets in the red zone. That's 34th in the league. If you're a top 3 wide receiver, which I believe he is, there's no way you should be 34th in
one
red
target
zone
per game. Come on.
I mean, that's just crazy. His total targets, 58. That puts him at 22nd. Still disappointing for Julio. Now, Mohamed Sanu, his teammate, has 41 targets, but keep in mind that Mohamed Sanu has played only 6 games. He was injured for one of them. If Mohamed Sanu had played 7 games, all of his games, he would have around 48 targets. That's only 10 less than Julio Jones.
Well, I think Sanu benefits from the best corner always guards Julio.
Yeah.
So that leaves Sanu with a better advantage there.
But here's the thing. Yeah, I see that.
Kind of like another team.
When you think about other great...
so
Antonio
Brown gets covered,
AJ.
Right? You have Martavis Bryant,
Antonio Brown still gets his share of targets like crazy. I mean, he gets a good amount of targets. He's usually top 3, top 5 in the league in targets.
I just thought the Atlanta's offense, like we said earlier, just doesn't look that good like they did last year.
Here's the thing. If your offense is struggling, and I don't want to be...
You run the ball, but they don't run the ball.
I know better than the coach, but... Well, you use your top guys. You use your studs. And that's Devontae Freeman, and that's Julio Jones. And right now, it doesn't feel like either one of them has been having...
Tevin Coleman might
say about that.
Guy.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're utilizing their studs. Yeah, it's a simple rule.
Here's the most interesting thing to me about Julio Jones. Okay. He's 6'3", 220. He could jump out of the building. Last year, 6 touchdowns. The year before that, 8 touchdowns. The year before that, 6 touchdowns.
Right.
Is he not good in the red zone? You have to factor that in. For 3 years in the past, they have not given him the ball in the end zone. And you have to factor in maybe there's a problem somewhere that no one could fathom.
Yeah, I wonder about that too. And honestly, maybe, but none of us see it. And what we know is before the season, Sarkisian talked about targeting Julio more. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Yeah. But what's your problem, coach? That's the question. What's your problem?
Well, what's your problem, Cam Newton? Come on now. His decision-making this season is hard. This is not a coaching thing. It's Cam Newton. What is your problem? Because his throws are just bad. He has 10 throwing touchdowns, and he has 11 interceptions. That's horrible. In 2015, Cam Newton, he led his team to 15-1. He was the league MVP. And now look at this. Just this inconsistency. What's going on here?
Now, here's the problem with Cam Newton. Cam Newton, in his career, has never been a good passer. In fact, the MVP
that's
season
true.
you mentioned is, from what I've seen, one of the biggest statistical outliers of any season in recent memory. If I don't have the data in front of me, but in QBR, in passing yards, in passing touchdowns, in completion percentage, Cam Newton is consistently in the bottom third of the league in almost all those categories.
Yeah, but this year there's interceptions.
Yeah,
that
this
just
year is a
skyrocketed.
little bit abnormal.
What is
in those
going on here?
categories.
And I personally have him on my fantasy team. And if you were a fantasy owner, you got do we start Cam Newton at this point, or do we leave him on the bench and just get somebody off the
I'd
waiver
say,
wire?
You play him weekly. That's
Depending on your opponent.
matchup.
Yes, I think this week's playing Atlanta, you might want to start him there. But luckily, I have Carson Wentz, that's a different story. But if you guys have Cam Newton on your team, look at his matchups, because I think depending on the matchup, you might want to bench him here once a week and pick up a guy off the waiver wire.
Yeah, Cam Newton. You don't feel confident starting Cam Newton. That's all I have to say. I mean, he'll give you a few good weeks. He'll give you a few bad weeks. You just don't know what you're gonna get. All right, guys. So let's do my segment, guys. I want to talk about a little bit about it's. So we're at about the midpoint of the season, right? And I think, you always consider trades, but there's a few things I want people to take into account when you do trades. And one of the obvious things is your record. Like, how are you doing? Are you doing well? Are you doing bad? Because that sometimes dictates your how you'll trade. And I want to use my record 7-1 as an example here. Now I'm doing really well. I have the most points. I'm crushing my league.
Oh yeah, just keep bragging.
Now at this point, okay, yeah, I'll need 10 more minutes. At this point, I am almost guaranteed to make the playoffs, and I even have a high chance of getting an extra bye week. That's the way our league is set up. There's one bye week for the two best teams. They move on to the next round, which means for me to win the championship, I will need to win 2 more games. And so in a scenario like this, and maybe you have a similar situation where you're crushing it and you just want to prepare for the playoffs. One of the guys I would consider at this point is Ezekiel Elliott. The guy is suspended for 6 games officially. So
officially, they're again.
Well, officially
again the play.
Yeah, it'll go back and forth a couple
that
more times.
situation is just a mess.
But here's the thing: he'll come back. If I make a trade for him, I'll get 2 games for him, and that might be all I need. 2 games in the playoffs. Now, granted, one of his matchups are the Seahawks, but the Seahawks, as we've seen and as we mentioned, can be gotten. Let's just say,
the running backs can get their share against the Seahawks this year. Carlos Hyde, Lamar Miller.
The price that you'll have to pay for, and I haven't made the offers yet, but I'm thinking for myself, maybe a Marlon Mack, and if the opponent's a little desperate, or what is he going to do with the guy on the bench? At this point, he needs to make the playoffs.
Sam,
why not?
Check your fantasy this week.
Yeah, there you go.
Check your trades.
Sam is the owner of Ezek in our leagues. Yeah. Now, I want to look sort of the other way. Let's say you're struggling right now, and one of the guys that I think, if you're doing not great and you're just trying to make that playoffs to trade away, is Keenan Allen. And one of the reasons, well, first of all, Keenan Allen hasn't been that great. He's been getting targets, but surprisingly been pretty underwhelming, right? Here's what we know.
Touchdowns are a lot more down
Mike
this year.
Williams is back and things like that. He'll be a little more involved and stuff. But here, a reason that I think you would want to trade him away, like if you're just grinding it out trying to make the playoffs, is because of the next 3 weeks. And the next 3 weeks are going to be pretty tricky. First of all, he's got a bye week coming up. That's going to be tough. Then he's got the Jags and Buffalo, I believe. Those are 3,
they're good defenses.
Yeah, especially the Jags. The Jags are just incredible.
And Buffalo's a
and
big
Buffalo's
surprise.
good too.
Their record's 5-2.
Yeah, and so here's something you're grinding things out. You don't know what you're gonna get. This is the perfect time, I think, to trade him away. That's just the way I feel. Anyway, those 2 guys are examples, I think, ideally. I think it's important for sort of the audience and fantasy members to start looking at, hey, what's my record? What's my roster? Take that into account. What's my goal? Is it to make the playoffs? Is it to dominate the playoffs, whereas I'm in? Yeah.
A guy I think that could be had cheap right now is Drew Brees. And because he's QB 11, been struggling, and there's maybe a Drew Brees owner out there that has Carson Wentz or another quarterback. If you could get Drew Brees cheap, because I think it's obvious he's a top 5 quarterback. and he's 11, and quarterbacks are usually cheaper, and owners are panicking. But if you drafted Mariota or Cam Newton and couldn't get a guy like Watson off the waiver wire, I would definitely target Breeze.
Yeah. Well, surprisingly enough, the last couple games they've been a running game, a running team. That is the oddest thing ever.
And they've
They
been
got that one rookie.
touchdowns, vulturing touchdowns from Breeze.
I agree. If you
I didn't. Okay.
I agree. If you have depth on your team and you're on pace to make playoffs, like in your situation, Marion, I would trade for a player like Zeke or maybe even Aaron Rodgers, because if he comes back, if there's a possibility of him coming back,
Well, yeah, maybe.
if there's a possibility of him coming back,
yeah.
You're looking at week 16, or maybe not
Zeke,
at all.
I think Zeke's obviously more of a guaranteed because that's what he's.
But when
he's
does
basically-
Elliott come back? Week 16 himself?
Week 15. So week 15 and 16.
but if there's a chance that Rodgers comes back, maybe even trade. You don't really have to give up much for him because you're only going to have him for one game.
Yeah.
But if you have a quarterback, let's say not in the top 5, and you start Aaron Rodgers that 1 week, he could put up over 20 points and win you that last game that you need.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Rodgers should be on the waiver wire.
You don't think he's coming back this year?
I don't have a problem
think
with
it's
that.
worth holding him.
I don't
if
have
he
a
does.
problem with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Let's move on to our next segment here. Bold predictions. What do you guys have, Marion?
I have so much boldness, I want to express. I want to, guys, take you all the way back to Thursday. You remember Thursday? 5 days ago.
Yeah.
It was a while ago. Now, I don't know if you guys recall, but Collins, guys, and I'm sort of starting to become a fan of Alex Collins. Now, obviously, Martin doesn't feel that way.
I don't think
He's
so.
shaking his head, and you'll have a chance to speak. But here's the thing about Collins. First of all, we saw him in the preseason for the Seahawks. I don't know if you guys recall.
And he didn't look good.
What? No, I was just about to say the opposite.
I don't think.
To me, he looks like just another guy, personally.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, here's what I see. I watched the Thursday game, and he looks explosive. Like, he looks fast, and he seeks out contact, okay? And I think there's a reason why he's been averaging 6 yards a carry. He's good. I mean, that's what I saw on the tape. Like, I think he finds the holes. He makes fairly good decisions, besides the fumbling. Obviously, that's an issue.
Yeah.
We don't want to ignore that. But I think here's the thing. I guess for a running back to succeed, you need talent, which I think he has. You need opportunity, which is right now is growing because he did well last time. Their coach Harbaugh said, "Hey, we'll be looking to get him more involved." Okay, he's clearly the most talented. Their offensive line is not bad, and I mean with Tennessee coming up, my prediction is that Alex Collins will get at least 20 points in standard league. I think this could be like a real breakout thing. They give him 20 carries. They'll give him some of the goal line carries, and I could see this being a close enough games where he'll be involved and really break out. And then you guys will have to agree with me that truly.
Well,
Alex
the thing
Collins,
is, he did play Dolphins on Thursday night, and
But
if
the
I recall,
Dolphins-
that game was 40-0.
That's
The Dolphins
true.
did nothing.
Yeah, but the Dolphins have a decent run game, run defense. They have a pretty
Yeah, their defense isn't terrible.
yeah, and so
Guys, the score of that game was 40-0.
No, I agree the score, but regardless of the score, he got 15 or however many carries, and he looked good on all of them. And it's just not.
How
not
much
just
points
those
did he get
carries.
on Thursday night?
I think 12-ish.
No, around 14. Around
14.
14. 14.2, I think, or something like that. And no touch, but he did get some of the red zone carries. Now, the reason I think he was slow to sort of get more carries was because of his early fumbles. And that is my only reservation about him, I think, are those fumbles. If he fumbles again, well, everything I said, disregard, ignore, we'll forget it, But I'm feeling like he's a talented guy and he's gonna get his. That's my bold prediction.
I have another running back, Jerick McKinnon, the Minnesota's running back who just took over for Dalvin Cook. I think Jerick McKinnon will finish as a top 10 running back this year.
Ahead of Latavius.
Oh,
He is growing, guys. He from 22 to 15 to this week, I believe he's 12. I think he'll get into that top 10 by the end of the year, and he'll stay there. Now, let's see his recent games: 20, 19, and 20. Guys, those are some amazing games. He's getting over 20. He's getting 20 carries a game. He's getting the red zone.
Okay.
He's a good back to catch out of the backfield. I think it just speaks top 10.
Man,
back.
yeah, this is a guy I feel conflicted about because from what I remember, and maybe this year's different. Like he looks okay. Like he's athletic, but not a great running back. A great
cuts
athlete.
and he's
But maybe
fast.
this year it's different.
Out of his cuts.
That's what I have to say.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just better this year.
He's always struck me as not just an average Joe. He was never good. He had his opportunity to be in the role he is right now and never did anything with it. And to me, it seems like a fluke.
And I think he's learned from that in the past. And this year, he has the lead role again. And I think he's learning from it from the past. And he's going to finish top 10. Now, my other bold prediction here is Paul Richardson. Now, this is a this is bold prediction. So I'm going to just throw this out there. Paul Richardson will be a top 5 wide receiver at the end of the year.
You know what?
Listen,
Yeah.
you guys can laugh all you
No,
want.
I'm not. I mean, it's
No,
bold.
It's
It's
a
a
joke.
bold prediction.
There's bold and then there's
No.
jokes.
No,
this
that's
is
okay.
a joke.
Let
Flat out joke. But go on. I
let's
want to hear
him
your
out.
reasoning.
Let's hear him out.
He's ranked 16th right now.
Yeah.
Now, he's a deep threat. He has wheels, man. Russell Wilson's deep ball is one of the best deep balls I've seen. He throws a really, really nice deep ball. In Seattle, in the second half of the season, always go off. Now, let's look back at previous years. It was Doug Baldwin and Russell Wilson with the connection. This year, it's Russell Wilson and Paul Richardson, as we've seen in the past 2 to 3 games. Going forward, this will continue. Paul Richardson, last week, I believe he had 105 yards on 6 receptions, and he had 2 touchdowns, as we spoke.
So
Guys, this guy is legit.
I'm currently looking at the ESPN rankings. He's actually ranked 13th.
13.
Look, actually, it's funny because one of my bold predictions that I didn't mention because I had a couple here is that Paul Richardson will have more points from this point on than Doug Baldwin.
Yeah. No, here's the thing. You
But
know who else
I mean,
has-
so I do like the guy. Top 5, that's bold, I guess. So
Yeah.
bold predictions.
Yeah, wheels. Mike Wallace, Torrey Smith had wheels. These guys have wheels. They're inconsistent week to week, dependent on big plays. Yeah, look.
Mike Wallace
I
and
could
Torrey
see him-
Smith had
I
Joe
could-
Flacco.
I
I
think
could
we're
see
like-
him being good going forward. Mike Wallace also had Ben Roethlisberger.
I think-
but I could see him being good going forward. Top 5, I think. There's bold and then there's outrageous.
Well,
but if he is top 5, I will give you mad props. Mad props.
but here, I think
You've heard it here first on
I don't think he's just.
Fantasy
I
Language.
think though Paul Richardson could be more than just a guy who has his good weeks. If the Seahawks offense continues to roll, keep in mind that Russell has been targeting him, and in the red zone, he's been getting, and he gets a few deep balls. Like he might not have more catches than Doug Baldwin, but if take into account the deep balls and the red zone targets, which he seems to be getting. Then he could. I mean, top 5's bold, but I could see.
And it's like you guys said, their defense has not been looking that well.
Stretch, but
So they
Yeah.
could be playing from behind and gonna need to air it out. And he's the number 1 target to air it out to.
Number
Andre.
3 still in my opinion. But anyway,
Andre,
now
can you
here's
beat that
the thing.
boldness? Oh, do you have
I
something to
maybe
say?
I could beat it.
Oh, well,
I still
okay.
think
Okay.
Paul Richardson is number 3 target, but that's
Number 3.
I know Tyler
Here's-
Lockett, huh?
Really?
Ezekiel
Tyler
after
Lockett?
Jimmy
No.
Graham
No,
and
no,
Doug
no.
Baldwin. But
Okay.
now that we have a suspension on our hands, who's owned? People are Darren McFadden,
Okay.
and people are talking about Alfred Morris.
Uh-huh.
I don't think either of those guys will be the running back to own. I
Okay.
think the running back that will take over that backfield is Rod Smith.
Okay. Okay. Rod Smith. He's their third
and
string.
here's
Okay.
why.
Okay.
There have been rumblings from Dallas
Yeah.
that he is their most talented running back. And
on,
he
guys.
is the third string
I gotta get on the waiver
due
wire and
to
pick him up right now.
unexperience. The unexperience is what's keeping him back. And
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I believe he had like 6 carries for almost 70 yards or something like that.
Is that-
Unexperience is keeping him back. But I think his talent, maybe not this week, he'll sort of this week flash, but by the time Ezekiel Elliott comes back, he will be the best fantasy producer on that team,
Okay,
and he'll be
okay.
a solid RB2 weekly.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is I honestly I don't know much
RB2, not
about-
even a flex.
RB2.
I don't know much about Rod Smith because we haven't seen him much as you mentioned,
I haven't
and
seen
so that's
him
why
at all.
I kind of feel like I don't know. I mean, I think it's his 3rd year if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know. The thing is, we haven't seen him, so we don't know. But what I will say is Alfred Morris and McFadden, they are past their primes clearly. Now their primes wasn't like amazing. They had these primes, so I could see it. I could see him outscoring those guys. I wouldn't say that his competition is great. But talking about that team, one of the things that wouldn't surprise me is if they go out and get another running back.
Yeah.
And who would you target? Do you have anyone in mind for them?
No.
I mean, with all these trades going on,
I feel like
they could have traded for somebody.
You could get someone. I mean, Ajayi got traded. I think he would be their best running back.
Well,
You
the
could get
deadline
someone
was
better.
the deadline already passed.
Yeah.
It was 4 o'clock.
Yeah. That's
Maybe
true.
there should
That's
be
true.
someone on the waiver wire, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, speaking of all these trades going on in the NFL, let's talk about some of these trades that affected your fantasy teams. For me personally, I own Kelvin Benjamin, and he did get traded from Panthers to the Buffalo Bills. Now, my question to you guys, does Kelvin Benjamin's fantasy stock / numbers go down or up?
Down.
Do you know what he's ranked right now as, roughly?
I want to say he's top 20.
Yeah, my guess is, man, this is a tough one too. This is a tough one to guess. Let's see. So he's ranked 25th. He's ranked 25th. Yeah, at 25th, my guess is yes. But I want to hear what you have to say because honestly, I don't know. I'm conflicted with this one too.
I'm gonna say it goes up. Now the reason why, he's a big target. He's 6'7", 6'9". Tyrod Taylor likes to target big targets on his team. Charles Clay, Jordan Matthews, they get their targets, right? Man, Tyrod Taylor, he's looked good. The Bills are 5-2, and Kelvin Benjamin was the number one wide receiver in Panthers, and he's moving to he's still going to be the number one wide receiver in Bills. I think he's going to be ahead of Jordan Matthews, number one target. But you gotta respect the run game with McCoy. So you can't have too much in the secondary. You're gonna have a bunch in the box there. So Benjamin can go up and he will make plays, and Tyrod Taylor will give him the opportunity to do that.
And to your point also, I mean, back when they had Sammy Watkins, I don't know if you guys forgot about Sammy Watkins. We haven't heard much of him. I mean,
LA Rams are doing just fine without him.
Benjamin's no Sammy Watkins. I don't want to say that. But I mean, we saw what Sammy Watkins did with Tyrod Taylor, and to your point, yeah, I could totally see him, targeting Kelvin Benjamin a lot more and him flourishing more.
Yeah.
And Cam Newton has not been good towards Benjamin, so I think going to a different quarterback, this is good for him.
Here's the thing, and going up or down, he's ranked 25, so will he go up or down? Maybe a spot. I don't think he will be fantasy relevant, and here's why. First of all,
sorry.
I mean, he still could be like running back, a wide receiver too.
Relevant. What are you saying?
I wouldn't
wide
start. He
receiver
wouldn't
3.
be startable.
He wouldn't be startable.
Unless you're
Not even on your 2 and
So-
16.
No.
Not a flex
No.
either. So you were
No.
saying he's outside your top 30 for the.
And this is why.
Okay.
First of all, quarterback wide receiver connection is something that requires a lot of chemistry. That is why wide receivers historically traded mid-season do not perform. Second, you say yes, Bills are better, but they're not a pass first offense either. Tyrod Taylor is not going to light you up through the air. And finally, he's just not a good player. He is tall. He could go up and high point the ball, but that's it. He's slow, not a great route runner, not good hands, doesn't even have the best hops. Not fast vertically, no double move, nothing that makes him good. He's an average guy learning a new offense, getting chemistry with a new quarterback on a team that does not throw the ball.
Well, if you remember, our offensive coordinator right now worked with him in Panthers a few years back, so they do have some chemistry there.
The quarterback to wide receiver connection is what matters the most.
What I think,
I guess we'll have to find out in these weeks to come.
I think Tyrod Taylor,
here
though
for
he
Kelvin
does not
Benjamin.
throw, though Tyler Taylor doesn't throw much, he does usually have one or two guys he likes to focus on, and Benjamin could very well be that.
Yeah.
And get some jump balls and win those.
So this is not the only trade that happened. We have Ajayi being traded, Jimmy Garoppolo. Andre, you want to fill us in on these guys?
yeah.
Now Jai value is, he's been terrible, but it goes even further down. they said Blunt is still the starting running back on the Eagles, so he's a big guy. Even if Ajayi takes over somehow, he is going to get goal line carries. Because
Blunt
Blunt
is
is a beast at the goal line, in the red zone, inside the
Blunt's
5.
big, but
Yeah. And Ajayi knee problems.
But Ajayi is the type of guy who could take over
Yeah,
Legarrette
Ajayi
Blunt's
is
job.
built also
He could take
for,
over. Blunt is
red
getting
zone
old
carries.
here.
I could see it, but I still see his value dropping. I see Hyde's value going up because now they have some quarterback help. And then the Seahawks, their entire team value also will go up because of the trade for the to the Texans.
Yes, giving up Jeremy Lane for Dwayne Brown.
Yes.
honestly, though, here's the thing. If I'm an Ajayi owner, I want to say this. Look, I'm just disappointed, and I'll take anything. A new scenery? Hey, I'll take that, actually, because I'm not saying he will, but he does have a chance to take over that job. Okay, he's coming into Blunt. But we've seen Ajayi. I'm not saying Ajayi's amazing, but last year, I mean, he could ram his way through things. And we have not seen him behind such a good offensive line yet.
Yeah, the
And
Eagles
this is
are
our
one of the
first
best
time we'll
offensive
see
lines.
him behind this offensive line. And who knows, maybe he'll be amazing. Maybe he'll, take that job over. I wouldn't say he has tough competition.
I agree. Blunt is getting old, like I said earlier. And for next year, maybe next year Ajayi will be the starter there. But right now, I think Blunt, the chemistry with the quarterback, you still need that for a running back,
A little bit.
It's not as much as a wide
AP
receiver,
came
but you
in
need
in
as much.
First week.
But your AP is one of the greatest running backs
if you
to
have
play.
Smallwood, do you drop him right now?
I would hold for maybe a week. I mean, right now, depends who you have available.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Your
say
team.
it or
I'd
jinx it, knock
probably
on
drop
wood,
him.
but injuries could happen.
Now, Ajayi, the reports are that he was traded because of knee issues.
Yeah.
That his
Okay,
knees
okay.
will not hold up.
Okay.
So,
Maybe.
Ajayi.
But hey, they just need to hold up for 8 more weeks. And I
Yeah,
don't know.
halfway through the season
So,
here, guys.
I don't know. Oh, man. Good point. All right, guys. So, I have a few fill in the blanks for you two. Okay?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to toss something out. You guys fill it in. Now, we're talking about Julio Jones. I want you guys to tell me. Julio Jones will finish as the wide receiver number what?
And he is
He's
number
currently
22.
number 22.
Now, did he have his bye week yet? Do you know?
Yes, he's had his bye week.
I'll go with number 12.
Okay. 12. That's...
I'm gonna say 15 just sneaks in the top 15 right there.
Yeah, I feel like he has to do better. Just because, he has
He's
been
Julio
terrible.
Jones.
But for Julio, yeah, you've got to do. Something's got to give. And I think they'll improve.
Yeah,
Obviously,
for-
I don't. Yeah.
He was a first round pick,
Yeah,
guys. That's
Not only
Not
top
well.
5 in a lot of drafts.
yeah.
Hey, but I tell you what, if you make the playoffs and he goes off, which also wouldn't be surprising, then you're happy. You're happy. Okay. The player to be, by the end of the year, the player that will be most commonly owned by fantasy championship teams will be who? Who is this player that most championship teams will have?
Well, I'm going to go with Kamara and Jones. Now, Kamara
Jones, who?
from
Sorry.
the Packers.
Okay, Aaron Jones.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's these guys, waiver wire. Kamara, we saw Ingram fumble last
Yeah.
week multiple times.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we know
yeah.
how Peyton is with Ingram when he fumbles. He got benched for Hightower last year. So Kamara could see an increase in workload. He could run between the tackles, and Jones is just a guy that's taken over the Packers' backfield.
Yeah.
So these two waiver
Yeah.
wire additions
Yeah.
will be on a lot of championship teams.
My only reservation about Jones, and I don't know, is just their offense. And I'm not saying he'll fail, but that's the hesitation I have. Like, will their offense move enough? Will
And
he
that's a
have runs and
plus
carries?
minus too, because
Yeah.
when you have a bad quarterback, you're forced to run more.
Yeah, I'm more of the mindset like you still want a good offense for the most case, whatever.
Yeah, and
just because of more opportunities.
Good offense leading into Carson Wentz. I think if on a championship team, if you got Carson Wentz off the waiver wire and Jerick McKinnon, these guys really boost and help your team out that much more. So I think those guys
Yeah.
you should own.
Yeah. I don't know if I should drop this name because we've talked about him so much. Deshaun Watson. Think about this. He was probably undrafted.
Yeah,
The guys who
he was on the
probably
waiver
picked him
wire.
up, I'm guessing, had a struggling quarterback. What does that mean? That means they probably didn't draft a Breeze. They probably didn't draft a Russell Wilson or a Tom Brady, right?
Mm-hmm.
So their early picks, they must have used on a running back, on a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And then, boom, what do they get for free or for their fab budget? They get a Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
That's
And
how I see it.
quarterbacks are always. I'm always iffy on quarterbacks winning championships. Even though it always
Okay.
bites me in the back
Uh-huh.
because I put up 10 and my
Yeah.
opponent's quarterbacks puts up 30. But I still think guys like running backs really
Yeah,
win.
yeah.
Running backs, yeah. I mean, if you
generally
have Bell, amazing. He's always going to put up solid points for you, Todd Gurley, Fournette. But you have to have a solid quarterback to win the league.
Definitely.
Generally speaking, you're right. But the reason is, historically, it's been running backs that come along. We haven't had a Deshaun Watson in some time. I mean, like an undrafted player. Undrafted in fantasy.
Cam Newton was a huge league winner in 2015.
Yeah.
He was 90-something ADP and won a lot of leagues.
Well, if you take our league into consideration here, if you have a top 10 quarterback, you'll have a winning record. If you don't have a top 10 quarterback on your team, you're a losing record. And that's 100% correct in our league. I'm sorry. I'm talking about our league alone.
That's an outlier.
I'm talking about our league alone.
Unusable, I would say, in an argument.
If you have a solid quarterback and you a solid running back, I think those are the two keys to have. Wide receivers you can always get.
Wide receivers are more streamable.
Yes, you always need a solid running back and a quarterback. Because if you get somebody like Jameis Winston or like these guys, they're like average. They're not guaranteed. I want to say 15 points. But with with Carson Wentz now, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, I guarantee you they're gonna score about 15 points every week.
Yeah. Would you guys be mad if I threw in Alex Collins in there?
A little bit.
All right, it might be a little bit stretch, but I also wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
All right, folks. I'm sorry to say this to our international crowd once again, but it's lights out. Thank you for listening, and we hope you have a good fantasy week.
Oh yeah, thanks for getting up early across the ocean over there.
Peace out.